Alright guys, we finally have our first look at Yangyang SP's complete kit, thanks to the version 3.5 beta. And honestly, now it's pretty easy to see why Kuro chose her as the first SP character in the entire game. This isn't just a stronger version of the original Yangyang. She has completely new mechanics, 2 different combat stances, heavy attack-focused gameplay, unique debuff interactions, and some of the most stylish animations we've seen from a Havoc character so far. And if you are wondering, is she really worth the hype, then why fear when Paradox is here? We'll cover her gameplay loop, abilities, resonance chains, and everything else you need to know without any BS, so if you are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss on any more updates, and also join us on Discord as well. With that said, let's get straight into it. Starting with a quick overview, Yangyang SP is a Havoc sword main DPS built around 2 combat stances called Azure Sword Stance and Feather Sword Stance. Throughout combat, she constantly swaps between these 2 forms while building resources called Melody and Azure Plume. Her goal is to apply stacks of Bane, consume those stacks through her abilities, and then unleash enhanced heavy attacks that deal the majority of her damage. So unlike many DPS characters that simply spam one combo repeatedly, Yangyang SP actually rewards proper stance swapping and resource management. Looking at her basic attacks first, she has separate attack chains for both stances. Azure Sword Stance focuses on direct sword strikes, while Feather Sword Stance uses a more agile and flowing attack style. Both attack chains can go up to 4 hits and consume Melody while attacking. The important thing here is that the final hit of each combo applies Havoc Bane to enemies. Havoc Bane is one of the most important mechanics in her entire kit because almost everything she does later revolves around building, consuming, and benefiting from these stacks. Her dodge counters also continue her combos rather than resetting them, which should make her gameplay feel very smooth during combat. Moving on to her resonance skill, this is where the stance swapping comes in. Pressing her skill allows her to switch between Azure Sword Stance and Feather Sword Stance instantly. While this sounds simple at first, the skill becomes much more important because it allows her to continue combo chains without interruption and helps maintain her entire rotation. The skill also has built-in dodge functionality during certain animations, giving her additional survivability while remaining aggressive. In practice, you'll constantly be weaving stance swaps into your combos instead of staying in one form for extended periods. Now let's talk about her Forte circuit, because this is where the kit really starts coming together. While fighting, Yangyang builds and spends Melody. Once Melody is fully depleted, her normal stance swap skill upgrades into a stronger version called Sword Stance Flow. These upgraded skills immediately restore Melody, generate Azure Plume, deal additional damage, and consume Havoc Bane stacks from enemies. They also grant powerful temporary buffs that massively increase the critical damage of her next major attack. Essentially, these upgraded stance transitions act as the bridge between her setup phase and her damage phase. Azure Plume is the second major resource in her kit. Once enough Azure Plume has been collected, Yangyang gains access to enhanced heavy attacks. In Azure Sword Stance, she unleashes a massive cyclone attack that hits enemies in front of her and applies additional Havoc Bane stacks. In Feather Sword Stance, she gains access to a powerful heavy attack that transitions directly into an aerial attack called Feather Fall. Feather Fall then unlocks a special state known as Hark the Wind. This is where things get really interesting, because during Hark the Wind, her basic attacks are completely replaced with a new combo chain called Havoc and Bloom. These attacks are treated as heavy attack damage and become some of the strongest moves in her entire arsenal. So her gameplay loop basically becomes building resources, swapping stances, triggering enhanced skills, activating Feather Fall, entering Hark the Wind, and then unloading massive damage through Havoc and Bloom. Another important mechanic tied to her Forte circuit is Feathered Oath. Whenever members of the team apply Havoc Bane to enemies, Yangyang gains stacks of Feathered Oath. These stacks dramatically increase the critical damage of her strongest attacks. At maximum stacks, the bonus becomes extremely significant, which means maintaining Havoc Bane on enemies is one of the biggest priorities when playing her properly. Next up are her inherent skills. The first one, Unbroken Vow, is actually very straightforward. The more Havoc Bane stacks an enemy has, the more damage Yangyang deals to that target. In simple terms, keeping Havoc Bane active isn't just helping her rotation, it's directly increasing her overall damage output. The second inherent skill, One Life, One Blade, expands even further on this mechanic. Her Resonance Liberation automatically applies maximum Havoc Bane stacks to enemies, while additional team interactions can trigger special effects that repeatedly refresh those stacks and create extra attacks. Basically, the entire kit is designed around making sure Havoc Bane is constantly active throughout combat. Now let's move on to her Resonance Liberation. This ability is called Hush of 1,000 Voices, and it serves as one of her biggest burst damage tools. Upon activation, she consumes all remaining melody, deals a massive amount of havoc damage, restores Azure Plume, and enters a special state called Voice Upon Voice. During this state, the next enhanced stance transition summons an additional shadow attack that deals even more damage. What this means in practice is that her liberation isn't meant to be used randomly. Ideally, you want to weave it into your rotation right before one of your enhanced stance transitions in order to maximize the extra follow-up damage. Her intro skill is fairly simple but very useful. Depending on which stance she is currently in, entering the field immediately swaps her into the opposite stance, restores Azure Plume, and applies Havoc Bane. This helps accelerate her setup and allows her to start generating damage almost immediately. Her outro skill is surprisingly strong as well. When Yangyang leaves the field, she attacks the target and grants a Havoc damage amplification buff to teammates whenever they apply Havoc Bane. This makes her surprisingly valuable even in future Havoc-focused teams, because she can continue supporting allies after leaving the field. Finally, let's talk about her resonance chains. Her first chain is very strong because it improves survivability, grants interruption resistance, and creates additional follow-up attacks after her enhanced stance skills. Chain 2 is another major power spike because it significantly increases the damage of her strongest attacks, while also making rotations much smoother by restoring resources and resetting important cooldowns. Chain 3 massively boosts the damage of her liberation while allowing enemies to hold even more Havoc Bane stacks. Chain 4 provides a team-wide attack buff, making it valuable even outside of personal damage. Chain 5 functions as a powerful emergency survival mechanic that prevents her from being defeated once every several minutes. Finally, Chain 6 is the Whale Chain, automatically increasing heavy attack damage while also triggering guaranteed critical follow-up attacks whenever status effects are applied. So, after looking through everything, Yangyang SP definitely feels like a character Kuro put a lot of effort into. She has 2 combat stances, multiple resource systems, debuff management, enhanced heavy attacks, aerial combat, transformation-style gameplay, and enough depth that players will probably still be optimizing rotations weeks after release. More importantly, unlike some complicated kits that end up feeling clunky, most of her mechanics naturally flow into each other. Apply Havoc Bane, swap stances, build resources, activate enhanced attacks, and repeat. It's a surprisingly elegant gameplay loop once you understand the basics. As always, remember that all of this information comes from the version 3.5 beta and can still change before release. We'll also be covering Electro Rover, team compositions, weapon comparisons, and more version 3.5 content very soon. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and join our Discord. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.